All right, guys, in this one, I want to make an in-depth guide for new and veteran players so I can show you all how to get triple 100 armor. If you're a fan of my channel, you know I post a lot of builds, and I see a lot of you guys commenting that you don't have these armor pieces to actually make these certain builds. So I really hope this video can help you out. And even if you are a veteran player, I hope you learn some new tricks as well, because obviously build crafting is a major part of this game, and in my opinion, is one of the most fun parts of the game. All right, so if we just jump right into it, the first thing we need to go over is how armor works. And what I mean by that is the total stat distributions and how everything is divided. So on legendary pieces of gear, you can have a total of 68 stats. As you see, this one is a total of 53, which is a bad armor piece. You should never masterwork this. Just delete it unless you absolutely need something. If you're leveling, it is very, very atrocious, and you should not use that. Now, exotics do have a total of 70 or 71. I've seen some people rumor that it's 72. It kind of fluctuates. Just know it is around 70, so they have a little bit extra points over a legendary piece of armor. But obviously, most of you all here are for legendaries, and everyone knows if you want to farm exotic armor to do lost sectors. But specifically for legendary armor, there's a couple of different ways you can farm it. Now, one of the first main ways you can farm is actually from a dungeon. I prefer the duality dungeon because it's not that difficult. You can speed run it pretty quickly if you do have 3 players, and you can get the last checkpoint, and most of the armor that drops in that will be high stat. Now, what is also a very good benefit is if you do run this on master mode, you'll get artifice armor. And if you don't know what artifice armor is, essentially you have your normal 4 slots, but on top of that, you also get an additional slot specifically for your artifact mods. It is extremely strong, but obviously it's not that needed, and farming other strats is going to be very easier for you to get your specific roles. Now, another way to farm armor is actually from raids. Each week they will rotate a specific stat that is dropping high stats for that specific armor, and if you run the raids, that's another way to get it. But to be fair, those 2 methods, other than maybe the dungeon method, the dungeon is relatively easy, is definitely not the best strategy, and your best strategy is going to be actually from Umbral Engrams. So if you don't know the way Umbrals work, you can actually decode them into specific armor pieces, and these armor pieces drop insanely high stat rolls. I guess it's due to the fact because you are using materials to decode them instead of just getting them to randomly drop in an activity. And these armor pieces specifically pretty much all the time drop 60 plus. So if you're not really into in-game trying to do raids and dungeons, this is going to be a super great way, especially if you have some leftover energy. Pretty much any of the places you could decode Umbral Engrams will actually give you pretty high stat armor, but I know a lot of people probably have a lot of Umbral energy left over, so you can come over here and do this. Now, when we're talking about actually getting armor, we need to take a look at our stats again, and as you see, we have mobility, resilience, recovery, discipline, intellect, and strength. So the way this is actually going to work is those are going to be divided into 2 different sections. You have mobility, resilience, and recovery, then discipline, intellect, strength. So just imagine those with a line in between them, and since 68 is your total stat, you can have 34 in each of those. They will never collide. You will never have a 35 and a 33 over here. They will always be 34, 34, which then will be distributed into those 3 stats in their sections. I hope that makes sense. If you do have questions, just leave a comment and I will try to answer it a little bit better. But that is how armor is going to work in the game. With that knowledge, though, you can take advantage of things like your ghost shell mod. So the prime example is I'm running a discipline mod. So this means all my armor is going to drop with a minimum of 10, and it's going to have a higher chance to roll discipline. The reason I'm doing that is because most builds in the game on any character, you want resilience, recovery, and discipline, at least for PvE. For PvP, obviously you can swap it around for whatever build you're going for, but obviously grenades and damage reduction is extremely strong, so you want resilience and discipline, and then if you have some extra points, definitely go on recovery. Now, in that example, the reason I'm running a discipline mod is, again, let's take a look at our armor piece right here. That means I will always get the most discipline I can. I don't care about intellect or strength, so I want that other half over here with discipline, intellect, strength to all go into discipline. It's actually a great example right here where intellect and strength are at 2 and my discipline is at 24, even though this is a bad armor piece because it is at 53. But that is essentially how I want things to work. That means your other half over here has 34 stats to do anything with. That means you can roll things like 20 resilience, 12 recovery, and 2 mobility. That will equal 34 in total. Or obviously you can split those up and you can have maybe like 15 resilience and 15 recovery with 4 mobility. But I hope you get the idea. If you basically want 2 stats in one of those sections, you should always put your ghost mod into the other section. So even in an example where you want a discipline and strength build, you should probably put your ghost mod in resilience. So that means you have your 34 stats in the other section with discipline, intellect, strength, being able to both go into discipline and strength and not solely focusing on one stat. I really hope you all understand that. But again, if you do have questions, just be sure to leave a comment and I will try to answer it pretty quickly. So I guess as a TLDR real quick, you have mobility, resilience, and recovery. Then you also will have discipline, intellect, and strength in 2 sections. If you're specifically trying to farm a discipline build for PvE, put your ghost mod in discipline so you have as much discipline as possible, and then in your other section that 34 can both go in recovery and resilience. Or in another example, if you want to have a discipline and strength build, be sure to put your ghost mod in resilience so your double stats can go in discipline and strength. You just want to get your stats as distributed as much as possible in the right place, and this is the best way to do that. Now for the end of the video, I do want to just open up some Umbral Engrams right here so I can show you guys just how potent these can be. I do have, again, my discipline armor on. I will just get helmets since we can compare it to this one, since I already have one in my inventory. So if we come over here, and we're going to actually going to just decode this helmet right here, or the hood as it's called, and we're going to get a 61 stat roll. And as you see, we do have a lot of discipline. We have 26, 2 in intellect, 2 in strength, which is good. 61 stat roll is also not bad, but as you see, that other section of mobility, resilience, and recovery did not go so well. It gave me a lot of mobility, which I don't care about. I wish that was at 2, and those other stats are distributed in resilience and recovery. So this is not that bad of a helmet. I would not use it, so I'm going to go and dismantle it. So let's go and grab another helmet and let's see what we get. We do have 5 umbrals. So right here we have a 65 stat roll, which is very good. Again, 68 is the max. Discipline is very high. We did get some in intellect, and I wish that obviously would have went to discipline, but again, we still have a lot of mobility. We're getting unlucky with resilience and recovery spikes. We're getting a lot of mobility, and we don't want that. So let's go and delete that one. Let's grab another one and let's see what our stat rolls can be. All right, so we have another one, and as you see here, again, another huge mobility spike. If you're going for a mobility based build, this would be great, but we do have a very large discipline spike with a 65 stat roll, which definitely is not bad, but we have 2 resilience. That is definitely a no-go helmet. All right, so we're grabbing another one, and hopefully we can get a good stat roll for the video. All right, so this one's not bad. As you see, we do have a 64 stat roll, 22 spike in discipline. I wish that 9 was in discipline. And we also have a little bit of a spike in recovery and some resilience. This can kind of show how fluctuating it can be. Imagine if those extra 4 points of mobility were in resilience, and if those intellect points were in discipline. This is the farming of destiny, and this is just how it goes. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you aren't, but this is just a very consistent way to make sure you are getting good stat roll armor. Now, in our last one, we do have a very good roll if we just had some resilience, but it is a perfect example right here. We have a total of 65, and our spikes are in recovery and discipline. Unfortunately, we do have mobility instead of resilience. If we had those extra points of resilience, that would be great. And if some of those recovery points were pushed over to resilience, that would also be a little bit better. But in this specific case, you could also just get another armor piece, which has a huge resilience spike and a low recovery, and it would even out. So I really hope this helped you all out, and now you understand how to actually farm armor in the best ways and how to do it the most efficient way as well. Min-maxing armor is definitely a super grindy in-game task if you're trying to get the best of the best, but it is something very fun to do if you are into that grind. And again, I really hope this video helped you understand how stat distribution works and how you can even min-max your certain stats to get your exact rolls you want. But I think that is going to do it all for me. If you guys did enjoy this and want to see more content just like it, consider subscribing, drop a like, and turn on notifications on. Also, if you'd like to join my Discord or follow me on any of my socials, all that will be linked in the description as well. But I just want you to know that watching this video is way more than enough. Every single bit of support from y'all is truly appreciated, but thank you all so much for watching this one, and have a great day. Peace.